Professional wrestling is the one true sport. Other sports have their share of intense, dramatic moments, but nothing can compare with professional wrestling. Welcome to Wrestling History X, where three friends come together to talk about the stories behind the matches. I'm Matt.
I'm a foul-mouthed punk.
And I am a Shanish Kringle.
Welcome to episode 305, Over the Edge.
In your house. Sorry.
Yeah,
it seemed like a tagline.
Yeah. It's like, is it in your... Yeah, it used to be in your house, and then the show, which was also, like, quote-unquote, the tagline. But now they swapped it, and eventually they'll just get rid of in your house.
Yep. In your house.
So this is the 22nd In Your House, an inaugural Over the Edge, produced by the WWF. It would take place on May 31st, 1998, from the Wisconsin Center Arena in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, with an attendance of 9,822.
And a buy rate of 203,000.
Solid.
That seems good, right?
That's pretty good.
Mm-hmm. Wisconsin.
Milwaukee.
In your house.
I was just think of...
Wayne's World.
Yep.
Yeah. But we are in Milwaukee.
Yeah, we are.
Wisconsin. So Shane, did you do what you do?
I did indeed. Yes, here we are. Back in Wisconsin. Milwaukee, to be exact. And I did what I do, where I jumped on the old interwebs and looked up what the hell people... What is Wisconsin known for? And obviously,
beer.
They're known for their beer. They're known for their beer brats. They're known for their cheese. Apparently, Wisconsin provides like half the world's cranberries.
Oh, wow. I did not know that.
Did not know that either.
Yeah.
They got big old marshes. Because the cranberries grow on, like, water. They just, like, float on top of
I
it.
don't know. I'm confusing my President's United States songs. Just lump something about a buggy marsh. But yeah. Anywho's, yeah. So I looked through their wide variety of drinks and foods and whatnot, and this little thing kept jumping out at me called a Kringle. And I wanted to figure out first, what the fuck is a Kringle? Because the only thing I associate Kringle with is Christmas, because Kris Kringle. And apparently these are kind of holiday-ish. It's a Danish pastry, or a type of a Danish, I guess I should say. Danish is the umbrella. Kringle is the item. Yes. But yeah, it's similar to a Danish, where it's just a circular pastry that's stuffed with a variety of fruits or nuts. I'm sure they have savory ones as well. This one has kind of an Oklahoma twist to it, with it being a pecan Kringle. But yeah, it's just a simple flaky pastry that's shaped into a ring, stuffed with some sort of fruit or jam or nut, and then it has just a simple little icing on top of it. These ones specifically can be found at Trader Joe's. This brand is OH Danish Bakery. They're an authentic Danish bakery from Racine, Wisconsin. Yeah, Trader Joe's, I guess, brings them out specifically at the holiday time, so I was lucky they still had some left over. Michael pointed out that they do different varieties of flavors.
Every time they bring one out, it's a different flavor. Because I bought the pumpkin one, and it was also very good. And they're good warmed or cold, and great for coffee or tea.
Yep, this one, I warmed up the oven to 350, threw it in for about 3-4 minutes, softened it up, warmed it up, and I still have a little bit of a coffee here to go with it, but I also brought a special creation, famous in the Milwaukee area, thanks to a beloved TV show from the 70s and 80s, known as Laverne and Shirley. Laverne and Shirley, they worked at a...
Shots Brewery.
That's what it was. I'm like, what the hell is the name? I can
I
think
know.
of Haas and Pfeffer Incorporated. But yeah, they work at a beer brewery, and one of Laverne's favorite drinks on the show, as well as in real life for Penny Marshall, was the Milk and Pepsi. We've already kind of devoured ours.
Yeah.
I did it a little differently. I bought little cans. This is the soda shop, Pepsi with real sugar.
More authentic to the 50s
Exactly.
in which the show took place.
But it calls for like equal parts Pepsi and milk, and I went for like 90% Pepsi and 10% half and half, and it ended up having this funky little coagulated look to it.
It didn't look pretty, but it tasted fine.
You stir it up and it tasted just great. We've already since downed those, so I'm just gonna crack my Pepsi here. I have a new can, and take a bite of my Kringle, because that's what I do in front of this microphone. It's not gonna make any noise, but it's at least gonna be a sweet treat pastry. Yum.
You think anybody calls it Pilk?
Well, they had a campaign at Christmas a couple years ago.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Pepsi was doing Pilk and cookies for Santa.
Did
Lindsay
they?
Lohan did a commercial, and
they didn't make any reference to Penny Marshall. I mean, I think she passed
don't
away
know.
at that point.
Maybe she directed the commercial.
I think she'd already
she'd been
died.
gone by then.
Or I mean, I guess she died within the last couple of years. Her and Cindy Williams both. Rest in peace. I don't know if David Lander's still alive. Squiggy.
I'm trying to remember.
Yeah, but Michael McCain, I think, is.
Yeah, I think Squiggy is gone.
Yeah.
Lenny is still around.
Yeah, it's a shame that David Lander never really broke out of
Yeah,
that
Squiggy
show.
died 2020, Cindy Williams 2023, and Penny in 2018.
Mm-hmm.
Michael McKean's still kicking it though.
Yeah, I
Oh,
mean,
yeah.
he's had a pretty great career.
Possibly the best out of all four of them.
Yeah, it's. I mean, Penny
Yeah.
Marshall directed some hit movies, but him as far as like
I guess I should say
acting,
acting-wise.
acting wise
Yeah.
for sure. I think Cindy Marshall just kind of went and was them all.
Yeah, Michael McKean had that run with the Christopher
Yeah, the Christopher Guest movie.
Christopher Guest. I'm like, why can't I? I'm thinking
He's
of
in
is
Clue.
Christopher Williams.
Speaking of Christopher Guest, something that happened right around the same time as Over the Edge. A couple movies came out. Almost Heroes and Hope Floats would hit theaters the same weekend.
Wait, did Christopher Guest direct this?
Christopher Guest directed Almost Heroes.
Really?
It was his last narrative movie. Because all the other
The- yeah,
everything he directed after that was one of his mockumentaries.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I can imagine that's probably why, because that movie was not very well liked at the time.
I mean, it was
No.
on an uphill battle to begin with because Chris Farley had passed away 5 months before the movie released.
Yeah. I saw it maybe like once, but I don't remember it. I don't remember it sticking to me.
It was not good by any means.
No.
Like,
But Chris Farley was kind of making crummy stuff. Beverly Hills Ninja.
Yeah.
I mean,
well, you had Tommy Boy, and then it felt like everything that he made afterwards was just
Another Tommy Boy.
was less than.
was another Tommy Boy.
Well, I mean, yeah, Black Sheep is basically Tommy Boy 2.
Yes.
And I still think it's really funny. There's still plenty of good stuff in
yeah.
there. It's just not as good.
I enjoyed both Black Sheep and Tommy Boy.
Kill
but
Whitey? Come on.
Never seen it.
No, that's what he says. He like gets
that's
high
a
with
movie?
the like reggae band or whatever.
Oh
And
yeah.
he comes out on the stage and just yells "Kill Whitey."
Yeah, I just remember obviously Crazy Gary Busey, but crazier Gary Busey.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, Black Sheep I saw plenty of times.
Yeah. Almost Heroes. I remember when it came out on video, but I never saw it.
Like, I had high hopes for it because I really like Chris Farley. I really like Matthew Perry, but I just
That's also a
it
weird
didn't
combo.
work.
It's like you can't. I know he can't do everything with David Spade, but I don't know that Matthew Perry's the answer.
Well, Matthew Perry, Friends was
But he always plays more the straight man.
Yeah.
Matthew Perry does.
a few years in already, and they were starting to branch out into the movies because he'd already had Fools Rush In. He was getting ready to do the one with Bruce Willis, Whole Nine Yards.
Hold on there, Joe.
Yeah, David.
they really did give him a shot at
the pallbearer.
Yeah, they really did give Matthew Perry a shot at movies, didn't they?
Oh yeah, Matthew Perry of the guys, he had the best shot. Yeah.
I mean, Schwimmer's probably because he's basically become more of a filmmaker.
Yeah.
So
He
he probably
took more
actually
behind the
has the
scenes.
better movies overall. But like
What did he direct?
Swimming with Sharks, is that him?
Was that him?
Wasn't that him?
I know he did the pallbearer because that was him and Gwyneth Paltrow.
Yeah.
He did episodes of TV. Yeah.
No, I'm thinking Run Fat Boy Run. My bad.
Okay.
Yeah, I haven't heard of any of these.
Run Fat Boy Run was a Simon Pegg thing that he directed.
Ah, that's right. I do remember that one now.
It was okay. I mean, not gonna, but it always felt like David Schwimmer was gonna do more like prestigious things, and then I think his Friends gimmick kind of got in the way of all doing that.
Probably.
But
he just also has such a hateable sad boy face that he doesn't really feel like he can. That he's gonna be chosen for like a wide variety of roles.
Yeah.
But maybe that's just me being a jerk.
I mean, they were on a break.
What about Hope Floats?
Sandra Bullock, Harry Connick Jr.
Oh, I remember because my dad,
Owens.
every time it was on TV, my dad would say shit floats and then changes the channel. I've never seen it. I like Harry Connick Jr.
It's actually directed by Forrest Whitaker.
Oh, really?
Yep. Now that movie, I loved that one. I mean, it was.
I don't know much about it.
It seemed like it was a cheesy little rom-com at first because it's Sandra Bullock, finds out her husband is cheating on her, but she finds out on one of those daytime TV shows, like the Ricky Lake style. I can't remember what the girl's name was, but
Jenny Jones.
She had her. It was similar to Jenny
Yeah,
Jones.
I know. Just
Maybe it was
kidding.
Jenny Jones. I can't remember.
But yeah,
she finds out her best friend Rosanna Arquette is sleeping with her husband, and so she goes home to mom in Louisiana or Michigan. Good God, Mississippi
Texas.
or something like that. Was it Texas?
Texas.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
I
because
was
Harry
thinking-
Connick Jr. I don't know if
He's
he's
more
from
of a Bayou
Texas,
guy.
but I always think of him as a Texas guy. But yeah.
And see, I think of him as like Louisiana.
Yeah.
I don't know why. But yeah, he's like somebody she went to high school back in the day.
Yep.
Back then she was the high school cheerleader that went with the football player and had the big marriage and whatnot, and then it all blew up in her face, and she goes home to.
The daytime talk show was Birdie Pruitt.
Oh wow.
That's her name.
Is he a musician in the movie?
Oh, that's her name.
Huh.
Okay.
He's like a handyman. Yeah, Sandra Bullock's character's name is Broody.
Okay.
Birdie.
The way that read was...
Yeah, but it's a good movie. It's got the
What's blowing my mind is
also popular song from Garth Brooks, "To Make You Feel My Love." That's when that one really hit the
is
charts.
Right. Yeah.
I'm just blown away that Forrest Whitaker made it.
He knows his shit.
I mean, I like Forrest Whitaker a lot. That's just not the kind of movie you'd expect from like one of the like handful of well-respected black actors to make. It's like a rom-com with a couple of white people in the
About
South.
10 years after is when he won his Best Actor award. So
Make You Feel My Love was written by who?
Harry Connick Jr.?
There's a movie about him now.
right now.
Bob Dylan.
Okay.
Oh, wow. I did not. I don't know that.
I
I
didn't-
don't know that Bob Dylan
I didn't know
song.
that one either.
But I mean, the guy
Yeah,
has
yeah,
like.
Oh, okay.
Garth did the song, and then I know Adele's done a cover of it.
This is actually Forrest's third movie as a director. He had done...
Did he direct Deep Cover? No, that's Bill Duke.
I think he had done the Scotland movie
Oh,
already.
The Last King of Scotland.
Oh yeah, I've never. Yeah, I think.
Waiting to Exhale.
Okay.
Oh, okay. I didn't realize that was him.
He did Waiting to Exhale in 95, Hope Floats in 98.
The Last King of Scotland's what he won the Best Actor for.
Yeah, so he didn't direct that. And then First Daughter in 2004. The Katie Holmes.
Katie Holmes.
So weird.
What a weird directorial ship.
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
And
It's,
to not direct anything else since 2004.
it's crazy that the ghost dog himself made Hope Floats.
And Waiting to Exhale.
But I would definitely say, if you like a rom-com, Hope
Floats
Floats
is definitely worth
is
it.
very worth watching.
If you're a Chris Farley fanatic,
You've probably already watched Almost Heroes, but you could always watch it again.
Yep.
I'm not going to tell anyone to...
no. I
Go
would tell
out.
people to go out and watch Hope Floats every day of the week, but no, not.
Maybe Almost Heroes
Almost Heroes.
is funny now. Sometimes you go back on a comedy and you're like, there's some good stuff in here. Who knows?
The previews
Maybe.
that played at Blockbuster weren't enough to make me want it, and I heard them all day long.
Well, let's talk Over the Edge. So we get the WWF Attitude package before going into another video package with stock footage of World War II soldiers marching and clips of Stalin.
Yeah, I was like, what's with this like Lennon and Stalin stuff? Crazy.
The narrator tells us we must conform, comply, and respect authority, as defiance will be punished. And we see Steve Austin speaking of a conspiracy while Vince McMahon stacked the deck in Dude Love's favor, followed by scenes of chaos between Stone Cold and Vince. Welcome to Mr. McMahon's Utopia. Jim Ross welcomes us to the show, joined by Jerry the King Lawler, as Pyro goes off, asking everybody if we're ready for some attitude, before wondering if Austin can retain his title despite the odds. And the King offers a spoiler warning. No, he won't be able to. You will see a new champion, crowned courtesy of Vince. We then go to our first match. Legion of Doom 2000 of Road Warrior Hawk and Road Warrior Animal, with Droz and Sunny versus the Disciples of Apocalypse, a Skull and 8 Ball with Chainz.
LOD.
We've officially entered the Droz era, huh?
Yep. So the story behind this match was that the DOA had scored a surprise non-title win over the New Age Outlaws, which led to the Disciples teaming with LOD to fight DX. However, the two teams ended up fighting each other after a miscommunication, leading to several matches between the two groups, when 8-Ball would stick his nose into a match and Hawk demanding a 6-man tag. The Road Warriors would choose Darren Puke Drozdoff.
He's gonna
puke!
To be their third man, with the Legion of Doom securing the victory. But there's still some bad blood between these groups.
We can't not do the puke thing.
No.
It's just impossible not to.
No, I thought it pretty much every time his face showed up on the screen.
Yeah.
It made you want to puke?
That too.
I mean, you know. It's that, and then I get kind of sad because we all know his fate.
As soon as the spikes are off, the brawl is on, until only Animal and 8-Ball are left standing in the ring, where the Road Warrior hits a leaping shoulder block, only to then telegraph a back body drop.
Don't do it.
Allowing the Disciple to deliver a swinging neckbreaker and a leg drop. An Animal retaliates with a back elbow, a dragon screw leg whip, and a headbutt to the gut, followed by each team making a tag. So Hawk and Skull start shoving each other around the ring when a multitude of elbows and a backbreaker puts the Disciple in control. And Skull nails a pile driver, but it's no-sold by Hawk.
Yeah, because it's pretty bad. And Jerry Lawler points it out. He's like, well, he didn't get all of that.
Who then hits a clothesline, a hangman's neckbreaker, and a falling fist before some double teams with his partner. And Hawk continues with a body slam and a leg drop for a 2 count, followed by going to the top, flying off with a clothesline, only for Skull to move out of the way, sending the Road Warrior tumbling out to the floor. Where Chainz attacks, which brings Droz over to fight the Disciple on the outside. Hawks rolled back in, where the DOA control the match with choking, cheap shots, ref distractions, and frequent tags, allowing them to double team the Road Warrior. And Skull heads up top for a diving elbow drop. The Hawk rolls out of the way, making the crawl for the hot tag. Animal cleans house with strikes, flipping through a double back suplex to deliver a double clothesline, when Hawk rejoins the fray for a 4-way brawl, until the Road Warriors dump one of the Disciples out of the ring before nailing the other with a back suplex. And Animal gets distracted by Chainz, while the twins end up switching places.
Killer bees, y'all. I think about it every time.
Only for Droz to spot this. So he hits the illegal man from behind into an Animal power slam for the pin. And the win.
And we get a quick cut to Sonny's ass.
That was the best shot of the match, right?
Probably.
He's gonna. Well, at least he's smart enough to notice the twin magic. So.
Yeah, this was fine. DOA'd out. LOD is, they're always going to get cheered, and I'm always happy to cheer them on. But it's not 1987.
Nope.
84 or 85.
84.
There we go. That's it. I got it the second time.
They like to mention it often in the commentary.
JR and Lawler then talk about the Nation of Domination kicking Faarooq to the curb. Ross thinks he deserves revenge when The Rock arrives to the ring for an unscheduled appearance. And Maivia has some thoughts about Milwaukee. You don't become a champ like The Rock, sucking down beers and eating bratwurst. However, if you dated one of the overweight, bearded women in the city, he'd need a beer, and he can suck down beers like a baby sucking on a pacifier. If you smell what The Rock's been cooking.
Not his best work, but he's
can't all be winners.
He's healing.
All of a sudden, Faarooq rushes the ring to attack, grabbing a chair, but it's kicked away by Maivia, allowing him to grab it, only to miss, and the chair would bounce off the ropes and smack The Rock in the face.
I mean, the crowd loves it. I appreciated it.
The militant uses the mishap to his favor, delivering a pile driver right onto the chair.
Not so onto the chair.
Or at least it was supposed to be. They accidentally kicked it out of the way as they set up for the move. The Nation, including Owen Hart, come running down to chase Faarooq away. But the damage is done, and paramedics come to the aid of the champion. As D'Lo yells at one of them, "It's his neck, you ass!" A neck brace is put on Maivia and they load him up on a stretcher, as our commentators wonder if Faarooq just screwed himself out of an Intercontinental title opportunity.
I don't see why. It's like, yeah, he's hurt. He'll get better.
Yeah.
But he probably won't be able to compete later in the show.
Oh, yeah. I guess this wasn't the match. Faarooq just came down and attacked him because he's pissed.
We go backstage to Michael Cole, who's with Stone Cold Steve Austin, saying that Austin 316 was born in this building. Will this be where he loses the title as well? And Stone Cold calls Cole a silly bastard for asking the question. That Vince can stack the deck all he wants, but Austin will remain champ, and that's the bottom line. Michael then asks if anyone has stepped up to watch Stone Cold's back, helping ensure McMahon calls the match down the middle, with Austin just rolling his eyes, saying everyone is scared backstage. But Cole then wishes the champ luck, only for Stone Cold to throw his knee brace at him in response.
I mean, why would you get involved if the boss, why would you help him if the boss is involved? That's not a good look. Mm-hmm. We're trying to get booked.
Right. So we go to our second match. Jeff Jarrett with Tennessee Lee versus Steve Blackman. And Lee does the introductions for Double J, who gets a special sparkler over the ring to remind everyone that ain't I great.
I mean, I love the Double J, two big J's that catch fire and sparkle. They look great.
While the Lethal Weapon makes his way to the ring with nunchakus.
Are they nunchucks?
Yeah.
I thought he just had two sticks.
They're attached.
They're attached? Okay.
Yep. And Jarrett stalls at first, only for Steve to hit a baseball slide to get it started, running Double J into the railing and press slamming Jarrett into the ring, followed by climbing to the top turnbuckle for a missile dropkick. Blackman then telegraphs a back body drop, so Double J hits a facebuster and a running straddle on the ropes before doing some strutting. And the two trade strikes until Steve sends Jarrett to a corner, where he leaps up and over, but Blackman wasn't charging in, so that allows him to deliver a German suplex for a 2 count. Steve then places Double J in a tree of woe, followed by going to the floor to bend the neck backwards, when Tennessee Lee comes in to break it up, sending Blackman chasing him around the ring, giving Jarrett a chance to escape. And Steve rolls Double J back into the ring and goes for a whip that's reversed, only for Lee to grab Blackman's boots and trip him up. So Steve once again gives chase, but Jarrett's there this time to attack, sending Blackman into the railing and dropping him onto the steel as well. We then see Al Snow and Head with sombreros on, sitting at the Spanish announce table as our competitors make their way back into the ring. And the backstory on this is, which JR and the King kind of get into, is that the King had promised Al a meeting with Vince if he protected Lawler from wrestler attacks.
Ah.
And Lawler is yet to fill his end of the deal, so Snow just kind of keeps showing up.
Antagonizing him.
Yeah. Back in the ring, Steve rallies with a facebuster, and he comes off the second rope with a headbutt, only for Double J to avoid and nail a dropkick for a near fall. Jarrett then charges into a corner where he receives a back elbow, allowing Blackman to come off the second rope with a pump splash, but Double J gets his knees up. The two trade pin attempts as security removes Snow and Head from ringside, while inside the ring, Jarrett locks on a sleeper, when Steve would break free and grab his own, leading to the two going through suplexes and splashes that are countered until they both hit clotheslines for a double KO. And they trade strikes once back to their feet when Double J's caught for a backbreaker and several kicks for a 2 count. Blackman with a bicycle kick when Tennessee would climb to the apron to distract. So Steve goes to confront him, but he's grabbed, allowing Jarrett to charge in, only for Blackman to move. Now Double J stops himself in time, but the opening allows Steve to roll up Jarrett with a prawn hold for a near fall. And Lee continues to distract the ref while Double J crawls to the corner to grab the nunchucks.
No.
But Blackman turns in time to see him, so he kicks the weapon out of Jarrett's hand. And Steve picks it up and smacks Double J across the back for the pin. And no, Tennessee Lee puts his boot on the ropes.
Jerk.
That's why you have a manager.
Blackman then climbs to the top, only for Tennessee to grab the stick, clocking Steve with it, sending him crashing to the mat, allowing Jarrett to crawl on top for the pin. And the win.
Steve Blackman's like pretty good, but he's kind of similar to Shamrock, but just doesn't have the intensity.
Yeah.
So it's just one of those things where it's like, yeah, he's doing fine, but where's Can? Where's Canny?
Yeah, you just give him a stick and he just swings it around. That's his personality right there.
Yeah, he's just a white karate dad.
Like,
90s white karate dad.
He's a guy who could be used as like a model for one of those video game fighting stances where they just like stand there and
he probably did work on Mortal Kombat for all we know.
JR and the King begin discussing Sable, with Ross wondering who will represent her in her pursuit of freedom, before sending it to a clip from Raw, where Mero told Sable he'd tear up her personal services contract if she found someone who could beat him. But if Marc wins, Sable must leave the WWF forever. So we go to our third match. Marvelous Marc Mero versus Sable's representative. And the commentators wonder if The Undertaker will fight for her.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just like, why would he lower himself to this feud?
Yeah, this I don't know if you guys noticed, but this is the third match on the card.
Yeah.
Undertaker will always have bigger fish to fry.
Paging Ken Shamrock to the ring.
But Sable comes out in wrestling attire, which confuses everyone. And Mero asks her who she chose, only for Sable to respond that she got herself into this mess. She'll get herself out of it. She needs no man.
Right.
There's the ladies in the crowd, however few many there might be, they pop for that. You can hear the distinct,
That's right.
distinct different kind of pop. From
Me and
when the
Heather.
first time Sable comes out, and then when she, empowers herself.
First ever You Go Girl right there.
Mm-hmm.
Marc asks if she hates him. What happened to them? This business ruins relationships like ours, followed by claiming he cares about her, and if she's willing to risk her body for freedom, he'll do the right thing. She can have her freedom before turning and telling the timekeeper to ring the bell. And Mero lies down on the mat, with Sable hesitating at first, but finally does go for the cover. And the ref starts the count. 1, 2... No. Marc hooks Sable and rolls onto her shoulders for the pin. And the win.
I got a kick out of this.
You dirty dog.
Too funny and also too obvious, but to think that Sable would take a pin seems crazy because she's incredibly over.
Post-match, Mero grabs the mic and tells Sable to get the hell out of the WWF, followed by singing, na 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 na, hey, 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 goodbye, as she walks to the back.
Well-timed buzzer.
Yes.
Sable, you're fired.
Loser. Where's Mean Gene?
So, guys, we don't have to worry about Sable being in the WWF ever again.
Yeah. If only. It's too bad that Sonny was such a nightmare of a person.
And I wonder if anybody in the WWF is thinking, wow, I wonder if we would have ended it there, what it would have been like. Because they would have saved themselves lots of lawsuits.
Yeah, headaches abound.
But they would have saved themselves lots of lawsuits if they wouldn't have had some asshole that was at the top causing those lawsuits to be happening.
Yeah.
Michael Cole catches up with Sable in the back, asking her thoughts on what just happened, with her saying she didn't think Marc would stoop this low, but she should have known better. Sable continues by thanking the fans for their support and telling everyone goodbye, as she tries to cry, but nothing happens.
You gotta care to cry.
Yeah, Andy McDowell can do a better cry. She can't cry at all.
Yeah, she can barely act.
Yep.
And I love her. I hate to say it, but...
We then go to Doc Hendricks, who's with the Nation of Domination in their locker room, who tells them that Slaughter has ordered The Rock to still defend his title, no matter what.
Because The Rock is just selling that neck injury.
But it falls on deaf ears, as the Nation is more concerned about their leader's health.
How did Owen get in here?
We might talk about it.
I know. We'll get there.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just thinking out loud.
Yeah, the last time I saw Owen, he was talking about how this is bullshit. It's time for a change. Things are going to change.
Uh-huh.
So...
Say it loud, I'm black and I'm proud.
Well, I think it's one of those...
Actually, I don't have it, so...
Yeah.
If you can't beat him,
Join
him. Well, not even that. A friend of my enemy is also my friend,
Yeah,
or
there you
something
go.
like
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
And he's been trying to get after Triple H and DX, and he can't do it on his own. So here's these new guys with something to prove.
A man without a country, now part of a nation.
That's right. Boom.
I get it.
Yeah, what he said.
Yeah, that's what I figured. I was like, oh, we put it together.
So we go to our fourth match. Kaientai of Dick Togo, Men's Teoh, and Sho Funaki with Yamaguchi-san versus Bradshaw and Taka Michinoku.
I know, it's so funny to see Bradshaw's big ass next to these shorter
Weird
men.
combo.
Uh-huh.
So the story behind this match was that Kaientai had begun attacking Bradshaw, which brought Taka out to make the save, only for a masked man to jump Michinoku. And it would turn out to be Kaientai's new manager, Yamaguchi-san.
That name, every time they said it, like, is that seriously his name? Yamaguchi-san.
I mean,
Like Daniel-san.
His name's,
Yamaguchi.
Yamaguchi.
But the attacks brought Taka and Bradshaw together. They would smoke cigars and drive cars together. But their favorite pastime was interrupting Kaientai matches.
Nice. I mean, Bradshaw, yeah, it's like Gulliver's Travels. He looks like he is a big son of a bitch, but he just looks so much bigger.
It's like, well, I shouldn't say this generation, but 1998 generation's version of Colossal Connection. You got Andre Bradshaw and Taku.
So Michinoku and Bradshaw attack once in the ring, clearing it completely, followed by a press slam of Taka out onto Kaientai. And everyone finally settles into an actual match, with Michinoku going against Funaki, who drop kicks Taka to his corner, so Bradshaw tags in, sending Kaientai out to the floor to regroup. So Michinoku tags back in to face Teoh, being taken down by shoulder blocks and clotheslines, which sends Taka to his corner to tag in Bradshaw again. But once again, Kaientai escapes to the floor to avoid the big cowboy.
I mean, I can't blame him.
Mm-mm.
But he does give chase around the ring, but he never catches anyone.
Japanese fire drill.
Michinoku's tagged back in, so Togo hits a leaping forearm and chops, only to miss a charge into a corner, allowing Taka to nail a tornado DDT for a 2 count. But it's broken up by Funaki. And Bradshaw jumps in the ring, throwing Show to the floor before being drop-kicked out as well by Teoh, followed by Men's leaping over the ropes with a plancha, only to get caught and slammed down to the floor.
I mean, what do you think this 6'5" motherfucker is just going to scoop you out of the air?
Michinoku then comes off the top with an Asai moonsault onto Funaki, but he ends up hitting the railing as well with his leg.
Careful now.
And once Taka makes his way back into the ring, Togo takes control with a reverse powerbomb, leading to Kaientai using suplexes, power slams, and spine busters to work over Michinoku. They lock on a combo Boston Crab camel clutch, while Togo delivers a dropkick.
Fun spot.
Before Teoh spikes Taka with a pile driver. But Michinoku fights back with wheel kicks and makes the crawl to the corner for the hot tag. Bradshaw with boots and forearms to knock everyone down, hits body slams and power bombs when Togo goes low, followed by a dropkick, allowing Kaientai to pose atop him momentarily.
Funny stuff.
Only for Bradshaw to power out to nail more big boots and clotheslines. And Bradshaw keeps up the attack with a tiger suplex to Teoh, goes for the cover, only for Togo to break it up, when Taka flies in with a missile dropkick to Dick, before nailing a Michinoku driver for a near fall as the pin is broken up. And Kaientai begins brawling with Bradshaw when Togo takes advantage to hit a top rope senton on Michinoku for the pin and the win. Yeah, the ending was kind of out of nowhere on that one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was weird. I mean, it was...
Like, the focus was all on Bradshaw dealing with people, and then all of a sudden, Togo just kind of flies off the top, and it's like, oh, match is over. Like,
yeah. I mean, it was fun, a little bit of something different. Yamaguchi-san, not earning his pay. He didn't do a damn thing. Granted, there's, a lot of people involved here, and it's a handicap match, but Bradshaw, pretty big. And you're a heel manager. Not going to get involved at all.
Fuji-san could teach you plenty.
I like JBL helping Michinoku up, and they just embrace. Big brother, little brother.
We see Sable leaving the arena with the king humming taps as she walks out.
He's kind of the best.
Brutal.
And we get the Attitude Era commercial again, noting that Shawn Michaels is still in the commercial at this point.
Oh.
Then now, forever.
That's right.
Not necessarily together.
We then go to our fifth match. Faarooq versus The Rock for the WWF Intercontinental Championship. And Maivia is announced, but no one appears. So they play his music again, but still getting nothing.
What's going on here?
Slaughter then comes down to the ring, telling The Rock he has 10 seconds to appear, or he will give the title to the Militant. And Maivia limps to the ring in a neck brace, arriving with just 2 seconds remaining on the count. But Faarooq doesn't care as he attacks the champ in the aisleway, dropping him on the guardrail and ripping the brace off. The Militant uses it to smash over the head of The Rock, followed by multiple clotheslines, until Maivia can escape to the floor to regroup. And Faarooq gives chase down the aisleway, dragging The Rock back to the ring, only for the Militant to telegraph a back body drop, allowing Maivia to go on the offensive with strikes, clotheslines, and elbows.
Rocky sucks.
The Rock with a body slam, and he delivers a not-so-electrifying elbow drop for a 2 count, before more strikes in a corner, until Faarooq ducks a clothesline, throwing Maivia down to the mat and hitting a falling headbutt for a 2 count. The Rock comes right back with more strikes and a DDT that gets a near fall, when the Militant reverses a whip, catching Maivia with a spine buster for the pin and the win. But
no one reacts.
The ref waves off the pin as The Rock had his foot on the ropes. So Faarooq starts to argue with him, only for Maivia to go for a cheap shot, but the Militant turns in time to catch him and knocking the champ to a corner. And the ref goes to get them out, so Faarooq just shoves Tim White away, allowing The Rock to trip up the Militant and making a cover with his feet on the ropes for the pin and the win.
Rude.
Did you guys see the sign in the crowd that says Goldberg fucking sucks?
Did it really?
Yeah, it was a great sign. She's like, straight to the point. That's all it said. So it just said Goldberg fucking sucks. No G. Apostrophe at the end. I was like, hell yeah. A lot of people.
Post-match, Faarooq grabs Mayavi and delivers a pair of pile drivers when the Nation would run down to stop the attack. And they hammer away on the militant until DX arrives, which leads to a Pier 6 brawl until the Nation is cleared out of the ring.
Setting up a 6-man later?
Yup.
Smart stuff. I like the idea of the finish, but it wasn't as crisp as it felt like it needed to be effective. It also helps that they haven't done Faarooq any favors to make him feel like an actual threat.
I mean, he hasn't done himself any favors either.
Yeah.
From the time when we saw him win that world championship to now, it's like it's only been
4 years? 5 now.
4 or
6.
5 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we're in 98 now, and that was in 91, 92?
Yeah, something like that. Like, he's slowed down quite a bit.
Yeah, he's collecting the paycheck and probably just feels like
a
a
lot
little
of
bit
his
apathetic.
spinning wheels is because he was stuck in that forever program with Ahmed Johnson, and Ahmed couldn't stay healthy enough for them to have more than a match.
Yeah.
So we're headed to our 6th match. Kane with Paul Bearer versus Vader in a mask versus mask match.
Yeah.
Yep.
Because
that needs to happen.
we just need to telegraph who's going to win immediately. It's like Vader, if you guys ever watched WCW, or listen to us talk about Vader in WCW, his mask comes off in the first 5 minutes of every match in WCW. It stays on in
He
WWF.
literally would just take it off.
But you can
himself.
Yeah, you've seen his face plenty of times. He just looks like a large ginger man.
Yep.
Some more background on Kane has come out since the last time we saw him. Bearer is his father. Meaning Paul had an affair with Taker's mom.
Oh my god.
Taker's dirty whore.
Even doing a DNA test to prove his claims.
Crash TV.
So the word whore and slut become anonymous with Undertaker and his mom.
And just further points that we are in the Attitude Era, as we bandy around these words that they would have not used a year and a half ago.
Slut!
So our two competitors trade punches to start until the Big Red Machine runs into a big boot, allowing the Mastodon to deliver multiple avalanche attacks. And Vader goes for a suplex, only for Kane to reverse into one of his own. But he then misses an elbow drop, so the Mastodon nails some stiff shots and a short arm clothesline. Big Red Machine then reverses a whip to hit a short arm clothesline of his own, before a turnbuckle smash and a body slam, followed by going to the top for a flying clothesline. And Vader fires back with strikes, only for Kane to just absorb them, and nailing a big boot and a clothesline. The Big Red Machine then drags the Mastodon to the apron for forearms to the throat, but again Vader rallies with strikes and headbutts. When Kane would take him to a corner for chokes and strikes. Big Red Machine then delivers a choke slam, so the Mastodon rolls to the floor to regroup and grabs a large wrench.
And I love it. The fans are pro Vader.
Yeah, it's
but it's nice to hear people chanting for Vader here in 1998.
It's a big ass wrench too.
And I don't know if you remember, it's kind of a callback because that's what Kane hit Vader with to
that's right.
put him out of action for a while.
And that wrench was even larger than this one.
Probably.
That one was pretty funny from what I remember.
Kane follows out to the floor, allowing Vader to attack him with the weapon, while the ref is arguing with Bearer, before rolling in the dazed Big Red Machine to hit a corner splash and a clothesline. And the Mastodon goes up top for a moonsault, but he misses. So Kane capitalizes with a tombstone for the pin and the win. Post-match, the Big Red Machine rips the mask off Vader, with Paul placing it over his face and doing a little dance, calling it Bearer time.
I love that Jerry Lawler says, "Let's see what Vader looks like." It's like, he looks like a Midwestern dad.
Yeah.
We all know exactly what he looks like.
Well, he's supposed to be horribly disfigured after getting beat up by Kane, apparently. So, yeah.
So you couldn't tell what he looked like with the, you could tell what he looked like with the mask on. It's just like a couple of nylon straps.
The Mastodon, looking distraught, begins to leave the ring, and when Michael Cole arrives at ringside,
Here comes Mean
to
Mike.
ask what happened.
How's it feel to be a loser, Vader?
Vader claims a man shouldn't have excuses. He came to compete, and he got his butt whipped. That he made the biggest mistake of his life. Just look at me. I'm so big. Maybe Vader time is over.
No!
Before finishing with, I'm just a big piece of shit. A big, fat piece of shit.
No, I hate that. I love Vader. It's bummed me out.
The Mastodon then knocks the mic out of Cole's hand and storms down the aisle. I'm just going to interject right here. It's never come out if he just said that or if
That's what they told him to say.
Vince told him to say that.
Just go out there and say I'm a big fat piece of shit. It's good shit.
It felt pretty genuine.
Because because it does feel like something that McMahon would tell him to say. Oh, that's good shit.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like, it's Vader and...
Yeah, this is the guy that beat Antonio Inoki the first time he walked into a New Japan ring.
Yeah.
So, you know.
And now he's losing his mask in a match versus Kane.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Who is like the illegitimate son of Undertaker's dead whore mother. Yeah, and it's like, he's like, what the fuck am I doing? I'm
illegitimate
Vader.
bastard.
Yeah.
Michael Cole then stays in the ring to honor two of the greatest wrestling legends in Milwaukee and the Midwest, with Cole reading the accomplishments of Mad Dog Vachon and the Crusher before they walk out with some lovely ladies at their side. And we last saw Vachon at In Your House, Good Friends, Better Enemies, episode 198, where he got his fake leg torn off by Diesel to help him beat down Shawn Michaels.
I don't remember that one. But I'm sure we watched it.
I don't know if I mentioned it at that time, but Mad Dog is a professional wrestling, WWE and Wrestling Observer Newsletter Hall of Famer, while the Crusher is a professional wrestling WCW and Wrestling Observer Newsletter Hall of Famer.
Fans like the Crusher. They love him.
They do love him.
I think I do remember the leg being torn off by Diesel. Now that I think a little bit further back.
Yeah. JR thinks it's good to honor these men, while the King calls it a waste of pay-per-view time.
He acts like he doesn't know who these guys are.
Before Vachon takes the mic to thank his wife and his niece, Luna, telling a story about how everyone thinks
That's his daughter.
She's his daughter, but it's actually his niece.
But he does say that he couldn't love her more if she was.
Yep.
Which was very sweet.
And then he also follows up by not approving of Vince's antics.
Yeah, I love that.
So I was just like,
I'm going to WCW.
Well, he thanks Vince McMahon, and then even though he doesn't agree with everything, all of his antics or every decision that he makes.
The Crusher then takes the mic and mumbles something. No clue what he had to say. When Lawler has had enough, making his way into the ring to confront the Hall of Famers. And the Crusher takes his jacket off as the King mocks the old-timers before grabbing Mad Dog's fake leg. So the Crusher nails Lawler with a punch, sending the King retreating to the announce table.
I like it. He says it's 1998, not 1948, you old farts.
But Lawler regroups to make his way back into the ring, removing the fake leg this time and fending off the Crusher with it. But the King still chased out of the ring momentarily. And the Crusher grabs the leg and attacks Lawler with it when he comes back into the ring for a third time.
Crusher is good at mumbling stuff, because I kept trying to rewind it to see if he was actually saying words or if it was just him just like around a cigar.
I think he was like,
Yeah, he's just chomping on the cigar.
And if you understand what I said, congrats.
Maybe you speak a Crusher.
So we then go to our 7th match. DX of Triple H, Road Dogg Jesse James, and Badass Billy Gunn with Chyna and X-Pac versus the Nation of Domination of Owen Hart, D'Lo Brown, and Kama Mustafa with Mark Henry. And DX poses on top of the junked cars in the entrance, asking if everyone is ready and that they have 2 words for you.
And if they're not down with that,
They've
got 2 more words for you.
Well, those were the same 2 words.
Yes.
Yeah.
Dog and D'Lo start us off with mat holds and takedowns before Gunn and Owen do the same. When Badass takes Hart down with a press slam, only for Owen to respond with a spinning wheel kick, a back body drop, and a sharpshooter attempt.
I don't appreciate these Owen sucks chants, by the way.
Which a rake of the eyes helps Billy avoid. And Hunter tags in to deliver a tilt-a-whirl backbreaker to Hart, followed by James doing some choking and a leg drop for a 2 count. Triple H returns with a shot to the gut, but Owen retaliates with a mule kick low blow before tagging in Kama to land some strikes and a corner splash.
Did you guys notice that JR says the boys in the back call him the Godfather?
Yeah.
I was like, oh.
I heard it.
Mustafa then telegraphs a back body drop, allowing Hunter to hit a face crusher and tag in Gunn, only for him to be taken to the opponent's corner where they triple team Badass. And D'Lo attempts a Hurricanrana, but Billy catches him for a catapult into a turnbuckle, followed by a clothesline and a drop toe hold knee drop combo from DX that gets a near fall. And the Outlaws continue the punishment on Brown with a double back elbow and a vertical suplex, for Triple H nails a backbreaker and a running knee drop, followed by an X-Pac cheap shot from the floor. James then runs into a boot on a charge into a corner, allowing D'Lo to make a tag to Kama, who whips Road Dogg to the ropes, where Owen hits him in the back of the head from the apron. But James retaliates by knocking Hart off the apron, but only to get taken down by a clothesline and a hook kick from Mustafa. A headbutt to the gut keeps up the attack before Owen tags in to pile drive a telegraphing Road Dogg, followed by a neckbreaker and a diving elbow. And the Nation continues to dominate with a neckbreaker, a sky-high powerbomb from D'Lo, strikes and chinlocks, when Hart delivers an enziguri and attempts another sharpshooter, only for Hunter to break it up.
You gotta soften that knee up.
And James rolls away from a Kama pump splash, trying to rally with a sunset flip, but Kama stays up and punches down, before bringing in D'Lo to hit a backbreaker and a moonsault for a near fall. And Brown goes back up for a diving senton, only for Road Dogg to avoid, making the crawl to the corner for the hot tag. Gunn cleans house with clotheslines, right hands, a back body drop all to D'Lo, which brings everybody in for a brawl to erupt, with even Chyna and Henry scuffling out on the floor. Badass with a not-so-famouser on Brown, while X-Pac tosses one of the tag belts into the ring, followed by Hunter teaming up with Billy for a spike piledriver of D'Lo onto it.
Damn.
Gunn is then dumped out of the ring by Kama, who is then thrown out by Triple H, who then goes to make a cover on Brown, but there's no ref. So Owen stinks back in to nail a pedigree of Hunter onto the tag belts for the pin and the win.
Owen finally got it.
I know. That was fun. I did not expect that finish. Which is a good thing.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's what we want.
We then go to footage from the end of Forgiven, where we see Austin cracking a chair across the head of Vince McMahon, before seeing Vince in a ring on a Raw, asking if he should fire Stone Cold, followed by a very corporate Dude Love coming out to the ring. Austin doesn't give a rat's ass about McMahon stacking the deck, such as giving Briscoe and Patterson jobs at ringside while making himself the referee.
It's quite a stacked deck.
McMahon would assault Stone Cold, which would just cause Austin to have him arrested, calling him the world's dumbest son of a bitch. Stone Cold said he would drop the charges for an apology and some conditions. Someone must watch Vince's officiating and ensure he calls it down the middle, which McMahon says no one has the guts to intimidate him. When The Undertaker would attack Vince, leading to Austin getting some payback as well, with stunners to the Stooges and grabbing a chair to smack McMahon. Only for Dude Love to come running down, so he gets taken down by a chair shot as well. We then go to the back, where Doc Hendrick is with McMahon, Patterson, and Briscoe, asking if there will be a new champion. And Vince responds, "We will see." However, he does promise one thing. Only his hand can end this match. McMahon continues that if Stone Cold assaults him, he will award the belt to Dude Love.
I know he's just setting up a screw job, but doing it blatantly.
Mm-hmm.
At least that's what we're going for here.
So we go to our 8th match. Dude Love versus Stone Cold Steve Austin for the WWF Championship, with Vince McMahon as the special guest referee. And Howard Fink introduces Pat Patterson, listing his many accomplishments, before Pat takes over the announcing duties to welcome Jared Briscoe with his accolades, including giving out the address and phone number for the Briscoe Brothers Body Shop.
JR makes a gnarly little jab at Pat Patterson where he says, "We know who does the rear ends."
Yes.
I was like, God damn, dude. That's crazy.
Yeah, I heard that and gave it a little head shake myself.
I know. I was like, I mean, they're friends. I'm sure it was some
But if you didn't know, it's just a funny joke.
gentle ribbing, but it's like,
Yeah,
it's
I mean,
still a little
chuckled at
crazy
it,
to
but-
say on air. It's like, it's different to make the joke, like, before the show starts when you're getting
Learned
everything
something
set
new
up.
in this little intro as well, that Gerald Briscoe is an Oklahoma City cowboy. Or Oklahoma State cowboy, I should say.
Yeah, both of the Briscoes were All-Americans.
Yeah, I did not know that.
Oh, shoot. Patterson continues with an emotional and inspirational introduction of Vince, who arrives in a tight and sleeveless referee shirt, followed by Dude Love wearing a blazer and new false teeth.
Oh, dude.
I mean, yeah, Mick kind of looks kind of cute, cleaned up here. His beard all trimmed and his hair pulled back.
Pat then calls Stone Cold a beer-swilling fool, a foul-mouthed punk, and a disgrace to every human being alive. So he's not even going to introduce that bum.
That's pretty awesome.
And McMahon takes the title and displaying it to the crowd before calling for the bell. But wait.
Boom.
We got one more entrance. The Undertaker, which causes Vince to look very worried.
A little bit.
Check.
And the match gets going with back and forth action between our competitors until Austin knocks the Dudesters' fake teeth out, stomping on them and throwing them into the crowd.
Poor guy.
Which has Lawler saying, "Dude Love lost his smile." Foley retaliates with strikes in a corner, but Stone Cold fires back with a Thez press and a clothesline that sends Dude Love to the floor. And Austin follows out to slam Foley's head into the railing before the Dudester returns the favor by whipping Stone Cold into the ring steps. And back in the ring, Dude Love nails a Russian leg sweep for a 2 count and begins choking with his boot in the corner, followed by whipping Austin hard into a turnbuckle and an elbow drop. Foley keeps up the attack with turnbuckle smashes and a corner clothesline for a near fall, but then telegraphs a back body drop, allowing Stone Cold to deliver a swinging neckbreaker and multiple clotheslines. Austin then starts stomping a mud hole before a whip to a corner, where he follows in only for Dude Love to duck and apply the mandible claw, which Stone Cold escapes by throwing Foley over the ropes, only for him to get hung up in them. And the Dudesters helped by Vince to get unstuck, where he falls out to the floor. So the two men begin brawling, including Austin being thrown over the Spanish announce table. So McMahon confers with Patterson, who then reminds everyone that this is a no disqualification match.
Pretty funny stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
With JR saying, "Since when?"
Since right now, buddy.
And they continue to brawl around ringside, with Foley choking with a TV cable, making their way towards the timekeeper's table, which wipes out Briscoe. Stone Cold clotheslines Dude Love into the crowd before they make their way back inside for chokes and a running straddle, only for Foley to move in time, leaving both men down momentarily. Briscoe's back up as the Dudester hits a baseball slide to knock Austin out of the ring, following out to deliver a swinging neckbreaker on the concrete. And they're out in the aisleway, and Vince is all like, you can literally see him tell Foley, like, hold up, don't make the cover yet. And takes off back over to Pat. Hey, remind everybody. And so Patterson then reminds everyone that this is a Falls Count Anywhere match.
And the hits just keep on coming.
Before McMahon then runs back to make several 2 counts for Foley. And our competitors fight their way up the entranceway, with Stone Cold being backdropped onto a car hood for a near fall, before Austin responds with a hot shot of Dude Love onto the roof of a vehicle that gets a 2 count, as The Undertaker continues to make sure Vince is calling it down the middle.
Yeah. It was nice to see a little bit of glass break. It was only Austin's boot that broke the glass.
Yeah.
I heard it. I had to rewind it. See if it was his boot or if it actually was his butt or back.
There's a head slam of the Dudester onto one of the cars, and Stone Cold drags him to the roof of one to attempt to stun her, only to get shoved off, sending him sliding off of another vehicle. Foley then leaps off with a sunset flip onto the concrete for a near fall, followed by throwing Austin into the railing and sides of cars. Dude Love then grabs a pipe and uses it over the back of Stone Cold.
A very large lead pipe.
Which busts him open, but fights back to attempt a pile driver, only for Foley to counter with a backdrop for a 2 count. And the Dudester hits a snap suplex on the concrete and climbs atop a car to leap off with an elbow drop. But Austin moves in time and makes it cover for a near fall.
It's a slow cover.
They fight their way back to the ring, where Stone Cold runs Dude Love into the steel steps, followed by choking on the ropes once inside the squared circle.
You can see Stone Cold calling the next spot to do Love.
Foley then reverses a whip, sending Austin to the ropes, where Patterson trips him up from the floor, allowing the Dudester to nail a clothesline and work over the cut on Stone Cold's forehead.
Ground and pound.
Dude Love then removes a turnbuckle pad, smashing Austin's head into the exposed steel several times before hitting a running knee in the corner. Stone Cold fires back with strikes, only for Foley to again run Austin's head into the exposed steel for a 2 count. The Dudester is then handed a chair by Pat, using it over the back of Stone Cold, followed by laying it on the mat to deliver a double arm DDT onto the steel.
Damn.
For the pin. And no! Austin kicks out. Dude Love charges at Stone Cold with chair in hand, only for Austin to get his boot up, sending the steel into Foley's face and knocking him down with a clothesline. Stone Cold then grabs the chair, accidentally hitting himself in the head with it as he bounced it off the ropes, but no one really says anything about it.
It was slight.
Before smashing the chair over the Dudester's head, making a cover, only for Vince to refuse the count.
He won't do it.
Son of a bitch.
And Austin gets in McMahon's face to argue. But remember, if Stone Cold attacks Vince, he loses the belt. So this allows Dude Love to recover and grabs the chair and swings away, only for Austin to avoid, causing McMahon to be clocked over the head.
Roof bump.
Stone Cold hits the stunner on Foley and makes the cover, when a new ref arrives from the back, but Patterson pulls him out to the floor and knocks him out with a right hand.
That he did.
The Dudester then locks in the mandible claw, taking Austin to the mat. So Pat jumps in the ring to make the count, only for the Undertaker to pull Patterson out of the ring and choke slam him through the announce table.
My God.
That was beautiful.
Briscoe then jumps in the ring to try and make the count. But the dead man does the same to him, this time through the Spanish announce table.
Oh, poor Al Snow.
We got two announce tables for a reason. One for each goon.
Stone Cold finally breaks free of the claw with a low blow and delivers another stunner, making the cover and grabbing the hand of Vince to make the count for the pin and the win. Post-match, Austin celebrates in the ring while Taker stares a hole through him.
With admiration, and looks like he wants that match.
Until Stone Cold notices and stares right back. And Undertaker leaves to the back, allowing Austin to pose with the belt, sitting on McMahon's limp body to berate him, before making his way to the cars to continue the celebration as JR says his goodbyes, and we fade to black.
Bum, bum, bum.
So I ask you, gentlemen, what are your overall thoughts of Over the Edge in your house?
It was a good show, but I feel like I miss hour and 45 minute in your houses. So I feel like we could have accomplished most of the things that we really needed in a 2-hour show.
Yes.
But I had a good time.
I agree with that there. The show has a very... I don't know what word I want to use for it. Like, I have less is more in my head. Like, the main event was good, but...
Vader and Kane was fun.
Yeah, there just wasn't a whole lot of necessary or memorable shit. There's just... The shit's there. It's the memorable part that's missing. Didn't hate it, didn't love it, won't watch it again, but...
Yeah, move stuff
the main
forward.
event was fun.
Yeah, I mean, it's in your house shows typically move stuff forward. It's just that now we're getting 3 hour in your houses. So sometimes it feels like a lot of this could have been accomplished on TV. And then there's the obvious matches that are pay-per-view matches.
This show makes me very thankful for today's Triple H era of let's have 4 or 5 matches and that's it. Because we didn't need 8.
So yeah, I agree. This is a pretty weak pay-per-view, but then you get that main event.
Mm-hmm. Which is a blast.
And I'm going to say those 2 words, short list.
I like it.
It's one of those things where it's like typically we praise more of the like I hate to say it, but like the stuff that's more like traditional, but this is or like competitive, but like Vince McMahon's just as important to this match as the other 2 guys, and so yeah, if it was just another Dude Love and Stone Cold match, it may have been really good, but this had added stakes, and it was kind of funny at times because of it. And there was a bunch of stuff going on, but you always knew what was happening. It never fell apart. Like with the Briscoe and Patterson and the Undertaker and Vince McMahon, and then Cactus Jack and Dude Love, like the camera was where it needed to be. You understood what everybody was doing at all times, and it all came together really well. And it easily could have fell apart if you weren't prepared or if somebody just missed a step.
Yeah,
well calculated. And we got some blood and some fun, hardcore style stuff that didn't go too far or feel cheap. It built to it as Vince McMahon kept trying to give Dude Love a better chance. I mean, and this is the match to rewatch. Like, this is the one that's going to be on your Stone Cold VHS tape from 1999.
Absolutely.
If NWO could have just ever lost or looked vulnerable, probably would have helped a lot. Because, DX is still going to get a huge pop.
Mm-hmm.
And they lost, but they didn't lose anything. And they're completely over, and they're just ripping the other guys off. And I know they're wrestlers. They all have, egos, but it's not quite the same. They still understand that it's wrestling. Probably helps that Triple H is a wrestler, and like Diesel and Razor were not guys that they weren't guys that like grew up as wrestling fans, and like it's like, oh, they were large guys that like got brought into it because it's a place where they could make money, and they're both big sons of bitches. But yeah, just like DX is so fucking over, and it's not going anywhere. And they lost. We never think of Shawn as a DX guy really, because DX kind of starts as like really kicks off as he leaves.
Generation X.
Yeah, but like
that's how I always refer to it. As Shawn was Generation X.
These guys
was
are
DX.
These guys are DX. But they're so over and have no need for like Shawn at all.
You know,
it's probably better that he's not.
I think the biggest thing is Road Dogg's kind of the secret sauce here in this thing. Like his mic skills
are incredible.
It's
the best thing about him. He's not a great wrestler.
And it kind of like surpasses anything that any of the guys in the NWO
are capable of.
Yeah,
it's a good point. It's like, we have better workers between all of these guys, and your worst worker is the best hype man in the company.
Yeah. Whereas the NWO, we have all these guys. Not many of them can wrestle very well. Some of them might be good on the mic, but we're just going to let Eric talk instead.
And
Hogan.
Yeah.
And Hogan just continues to give a promo that would work back in 1984, not 1998.
Yeah.
And you've got Hall and Nash that come out there and do their little survey.
Razor Scott Hall's the closest thing that they have to.
And he's a mess.
And yeah, exactly.
Yeah, he's a mess, and he's lost plenty of steps in the ring because he doesn't have to be. He doesn't have to be good because.
No,
because you don't have somebody like Vince McMahon who's like, that was a shit performance. Like when he walks back, they're just like, oh, they're just happy to have him because they're selling T-shirts.
Good. Where's the smart marks at? All right, fuck you.
I think it's time we smark it up. So what are some of the best moments of this show?
I really loved everything that Owen did. The small character work, and then of course always fun in the ring. But I think he stood out whenever he was on screen. And his interactions with the Nation were like fun and funny, and he's just so good at being a shithead.
Yep. I think that's why they needed to have him get booed again too. Because as much as we were cheering for him and wanting all of that.
So much better as a heel.
Yeah, it's just one of those things too. It's like, well, booing a heel that's equal to cheers. Yep. So like, if you're doing a good job and it's not go away heat, which it isn't, then you're good to go.
Sable standing up for herself. I gotta give her some flowers at some point. So this is it.
Yeah, her standing up for herself and her kind of showing her new wrestling wardrobe without me remembering that. Oh yeah, this is what she wrestled in. I forgot.
It's a cool look. It looks good.
She took Mero's everything.
Yeah. It looks good on her.
Took his music, took his name and threw it away. Took his uniform, all of it. Yeah.
I didn't like the ending of the Kaientai versus Bradshaw match. I didn't like the ending, but the build-up of Bradshaw every time he would come in the ring, Kaientai would run away. Like, it made him feel like a big deal.
And he just looks like a monster against all of them. He looks better than we've seen him in. Like, he put on some muscle or lost some fat. One or the other, probably both. And that match was really fun, and it was slightly comedic, but it wasn't a comedy match.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It rode that line really well.
Paul Bearer having fun after his match.
The little dance.
It was so funny.
And yelling, "It's bear time," cracked me up.
Yeah, I mean, I love Vader, and it was fun to see him in a match with Kane. I didn't love the way that it ended up, but we all knew what was going to happen, especially when they told us it was mask versus mask. They didn't even have to do that.
Well, I'm not so much excited for the arrival of Droz. LOD was looking more like LOD than they had in previous weeks. Both of them in long pants, both of them wearing makeup. Hawk's hair is still weird, but they at least looked like the Road Warriors. And I'm even going to throw Sunny out there. Her upgrade in wardrobe has enhanced her bosom area a little more, because basically she's just like...
She always looks great, but she looks...
all tits with flames in front of him now, so...
She looks real great in the LOD wear. Yeah. It's crazy.
Flames.
Yes.
Yeah. But yeah, she looks good. Put her in anything, she looks great. But the LOD
put her in nothing,
costume
I'm sure she looks
is pretty
great
wonderful.
too.
Yeah. Ask Sean.
Brett.
Chris.
Yeah.
The interview right before they go out for the main event, Vince goes out for the main event, like, he tells you exactly what's going to happen.
Yeah.
But it's not anything that you're even thinking about.
No, they set everything up like perfectly. It's like, all right, here's all the pins, and then we are going to knock them down at the right time throughout this match. That is like, and it all builds up. Like, I think it's almost like the last like 45 minutes is like just the lead up and this match, but it's done so perfectly that it flies by. Absolutely. Like, they don't waste any time. Everything that happens matters, and it all, like I said, they put up the pin and they knock them down in the right order. Yeah.
I mean, JR's reaction every time they reminded everyone about the rules, like, it's like everybody was just like
firing on all cylinders.
Yeah, exactly, in that match.
And it's like, yeah, if you swapped any one of those people out for somebody else, like, probably wouldn't have worked. It's just there was the right ingredients, and it makes. I mean, I don't know who else you would put in like Mick Foley's position, but I don't think you could. Like, if you did this with anybody else on the roster in Mick Foley's position, like, it just wouldn't work.
Because he's one of the few people that can take a loss, and it's never going to hurt him.
No, people love him. They love him when he's a bad guy. They love him when he's a good guy. Like,
yeah, he takes a loss, and it's like a video game character that just regenerates.
Yeah, when he does something shitty, there are people who are actually like upset by it because he's so innately likable that it's like, he's just got a lovable face.
How about most disappointing?
Shamrock on the poster, no Shamrock here. Steve Blackman comes out, and the first thing I think about is Ken Shamrock. Because I think Ken Shamrock's been getting cheered. He's had intensity, but feels kind of like what we had with Ahmed. And Ken Shamrock is way more... Ahmed had started to get the juice and then goes away and then comes back and people are still cheering, but it's not enough. But Ken Shamrock got it kind of immediately.
Yeah.
Like, the energy of the room changes when Ken Shamrock is in the arena. And when Steve Blackman is in the arena, people don't notice.
Yeah, Steve Blackman, unfortunately, he has a great look to him, but he has zero charisma. Yeah. There's only one memorable feud that I can automatically think back to, and it involves him and Shane McMahon. And it's a great feud, but
it's mostly
Steve
Shane.
Blackman doesn't have a lot of personality.
Steve Blackman makes Dean Malenko look like Chris Jericho.
Yes.
As far as
very much
as far as character work goes.
Yeah.
Faarooq just looking old and slow.
Yeah, it's an honor.
I mean, you mentioned it earlier. Putting Kane and Vader in a mask versus mask match, like,
just telegraphs it.
Telegraphs what the ending of that's going to be.
And people are gonna cheer Vader because he's fucking Vader.
Yeah, and people
love the Undertaker. The Undertaker's a face right now.
When your majority of your face shows while you're wearing a mask, having a mask versus mask match just doesn't do it.
And obviously, him saying that he's a big fat piece of shit.
I mean, I couldn't help but laugh, but it hurt me a little bit.
Yeah, that's the thing.
It's like, we love Vader
because we love Vader. So
the crowd loves Vader.
He's had a bad year.
Yeah.
As much as I love that they decided to honor Vachon and Crusher, that segment went on too long with the Lawler stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like he got in the ring and left and came back and left and came back and it's like, why don't we can just get this done in one go of it.
Yeah.
We all know what is going to happen here.
Like, once Crusher hit him and knocked him out of the ring, it's like, okay, cool, we're done. And then he got back, and it was just like, what are we doing? Like,
there was a great Jerry Lawler joke that I don't think I pointed out, where he said, I used to date a girl with one leg, she was a pushover. It's like, that's why we pay you the big bucks.
Like, Lawler and JR have some good lines on commentary.
Yeah, I mean,
throughout the entire show. I mean,
that was just one that
there's reason that they're legends.
Yeah.
How about best performer of the night?
I mean, it's Austin Dude Love or Vince McMahon.
I was like, I think it might be Vince.
I think it's Vince because like his facial expressions and reactions were perfect, and they were never as cartoony as sometimes we see them.
Yeah.
Where he was playing to the back row, but he wasn't like overdoing it. It was like just the right amount at all times. Like the looks of fear.
No award for Sable Says Goodbye.
I was like, actually, I think my runner-up may be Pat Patterson.
Yeah.
Because his intros were great.
Absolutely.
His interactions during the match until the point, I mean, he then takes a fucking choke slam through an announce table.
I mean, yeah.
So does Briscoe. Like, don't get me wrong, but
Pat looks a little worse. He's like, he's probably a little older and he's a little bigger.
Yep. No, I'm good with those.
And how about most surprising? Sable. Last time we're going to see Sable in the WWF.
Yeah.
If I knew that to be true, it would be it. But for me, it was that I always open up Wikipedia and I write down the attendance and all that stuff. And I saw the poster and I was like, hell yeah, Ken Shamrock looks like a badass. And then there was no
And then he didn't show up.
And then he wasn't on the show. And I was
As
like,
it says on IMDb, Ken Shamrock's face was used on the promotional poster. Despite not appearing on the event, he was still recovering from a storyline ankle injury, and the next pay-per-view he appeared on was the following month's King of the Ring.
Yeah, I mean, it's whatever, because I think the main event would have... I mean, if this was not the original main event and Ken Shamrock was in the main event, I think we probably got the better, more memorable, and more important main event.
Like, wasn't Shamrock and...
The Rock.
Rock and Faarooq had moved on into their thing.
Oh, yeah.
Like, Shamrock and Severin, I thought, were the ones that were feuding. Who gave him the ankle injury?
That's what I'm wondering.
Because I'm just like, I don't even know who Shamrock would have been facing at this pay-per-view.
I mean, I was trying to figure that out, too, while we were watching it, and I was like, where does Ken Shamrock fit into this? I had that thought as the show was going on, and I was like, well, I don't know. I guess I assumed that whatever it was going to be, it wasn't a one-to-one, swapping around.
What match do they cut out of these?
See, I was just convinced that Shamrock was going to be Sable's someone.
I mean, that might have been it. I mean, but to have Mero and Shamrock then have a thing,
yeah,
that doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Like, Sable being her own representative makes the most sense. So, but who knows?
My surprising, I'll throw out Droz because I didn't realize we were.
That's true.
We were there. I mean, I knew we were getting there because LOD 2000, but old Puke himself.
Making their way to the ring.
It's trivia time.
Bum, bum, bum.
This week, the category is music of the mat.
Hit my music.
Break it down.
Ooh.
Music.
I'm going to play a wrestler's theme. If you can name the wrestler, I'll give you 3 points. So here is the song.
Is the beat gonna drop?
I don't know many songs from this organization.
I'm gonna go with Keiji Muto.
That is incorrect.
No.
I have another guess, but it's probably wrong too.
This is 95, right?
95.
So we'll say... I'm trying to think of people that we saw back then. The Kensuke Sasaki.
Hey, that's one of the ones I was thinking.
That is incorrect as well.
Is it Shinya Hashimoto?
It is Shinya Hashimoto.
That was my second one, and I was like, who did we see back then? I was like, oh, Kensei Sasaki, but yeah, Shinya.
Yeah,
I like Shinya. But I did not.
That's his theme, Bakushi Singen.
Yeah. Yep.
So no points for anyone this week.
Nope.
Well,
It's all right.
music, the math can be a little tough
Oh, yeah.
because we don't always play every song that I pick for these things.
And a lot of times the network plays something totally different.
It's
So.
true.
Yeah.
Or that song, we have heard that
You
song.
have heard it, yeah. But it's the audio in the Tokyo Dome shows isn't quite the same as the audio on a WWF show.
Yeah, a lot of times that match ends, and so does the camera.
I am a little disappointed in myself. That was the second one in my head, and then the third one was Kensuke Sasaki, and I was like, maybe it could be either of them.
I was just trying to think of a name
yeah.
that I remembered that wasn't Muda from back then.
I mean, both those songs feel like face songs, but that's not really how the music works in Japan. So
Next week, WWF Monday Night Raw
We're going raw.
from June 1st, 1998.
you gotta see how Vince McMahon feels about being puppeted.
That's right, it's the very next night.
See if he's still bringing that chair shot. Heard around the world.
Music from this week's show is Rough and Tumble by Steve Gumas and Doug Perkins. And Austin won our main event, so we play Hell Frozen Over, version 3
I never knew that was the name of the song.
by Jim Johnston.
Did you know that?
I want to say it's been said.
I just never knew that was the name of the song. I never thought of what it was.
It sounds
called.
like something more Undertaker style, but
If you like this episode or any of our other ones, please go out there, rate and review us on iTunes, Spotify, YouTube, or wherever you find your podcast at. Do as Michael says.
5 stars or no stars. Do it for Sable.
That's right. She might come back if you,
Good 5, yeah.
if you give it 5 stars.
not loud enough. Or something.
And if you have any questions, comments, concerns,
We're going to Illinois next.
Rosemont, Illinois.
Near the Chicago. Yeah, give me some ideas. Tell me what I should make. What do people eat in Chicago? What do they drink in Chicago? What if you visit Chicago, what do you like to have? Because I still have never been there.
Portillo's.
What's that?
It's like a restaurant.
Okay.
I think has greasy food. I don't know exactly what. Probably like an Italian.
Everything in Chicago has greasy food.
Yeah, probably like an Italian beef. Is I assume the kind of thing they have.
Probably.
Yeah.
And also, I mean, Chicago dogs.
Agree.
Yeah, I wasn't even going to suggest that because I think I brought a couple
Yeah,
of
we've
those.
done the Chicago dog.
There's only, I don't know, aside from, we have this brand of bun. Everything else is kind of the same when it comes to a Chicago dog.
Yeah,
other
they're
than
just-
just the dog.
It's kind of a mess. They're not very good.
Yeah, and it's mostly ice cold by the time you get to it because all that shit on top of it. But yeah, give me some ideas. Let me know. What should I get? Where should I get it from? Should I make it? Something.
You can always email those ideas to WrestlingHistoryX@gmail.com or find us on X at WrestlingHistoX. That's Wrestling, HISTO X. We'll talk to you next week.
Laters.